Hi, I'm Eric Bjorn. I'm an author. I've written 10 books, and I'm hard at work on book number 11. It's called BRONX NIGHTS, an epic, autistic, long COVID, Big Apple memoir. It's a story of my struggle to find a cure for long COVID after moving from South Carolina to New York City more than a year ago. I'm also the author of Uber Nights, which you can find on Amazon, or you can head to the Linktree link in any of my social media platforms. Um, Go to Amazon, or you can also buy them through my TikTok shop. Well, I'm really excited about the premiere of Chapter 3 from BRONX NIGHTS, Game of Thrones. Dedicated to all atheists. You're wrong. The gods exist. And they're dicks. Fuck the gods, old and new, be they one or many. All ancient of days, lounging atop cumulus zeniths, bellies bursting from blood-drenched flesh, offered upon horned altars by lick-spittles, high from the aroma of petitions, adoration, and charbroiled smoke. Fuck them all, for now. Pick a god, any god. The cross and the crescent, the star and the wheel, spooning tadpoles, the double scimitar, the gates, the tosses off camel hair Chanel stole, drops a stone tablet, sips a can of Fresca. Look, don't take this personally. This isn't about you. It's about me. Your gods don't need you to defend them, so please don't act injured. This is my war with the deities. If you need to, go kick a dog. Actually, please don't do that. I'm more of a cat person, but dogs go through enough later in this book. If you think lightning bolts, locusts, and a fifth round of COVID are about to rain down upon me, have you been paying attention to any of this at all? Even my boils have boils. I have zero problem saying what I just said and what I'm about to say, because in my bones, I believe the gods would rather feel the fury of my feathered fingers than me appease them with twinkle toes. Like I said, fuck them hard and without mercy. They who abandoned all the children in this world, all the Candies and Alexes and JoJos, we'll get to her presently, to the devices of darkness inside all mankind, which they themselves fashioned, playing supernal parlor games with theodicy tokens and volition dice. Behold, O petulant, hallowed hotheads, assume your seats in the dipsy-do divine dock. Little Lord Fauntleroys in your beatific Buster Brown bests, dressed by sardonyx winged sycophants, bedded on bassinets of a billion mortal coils. The Emperor may have no clothes, but Tetragrammaton and Co. just soiled their nappies. I, their motley monster, their creature clown, judge them as lazy, as brutal, as pitiable, as senseless, as cheap, as wanton, as cowardly, as vain. Drops tablet 2, takes another sip. If you're nodding at home to the bouncing blasphemy ball, feel free to tack an isimo after any substandard word you please. All the Crayola big box crab nebula and Sierpinski carpets and Grand Canyons across space and time, plus whatever fascinating antepenultimate lepton fart we may discover holds this shitbag cosmos together, can never make up for this white ribbon. Thank you for playing fallible science fair bust of a universe. Deities, take your pain and shove it up your venerable asses. Here, add this can of Fresca for good measure. Launches can of Fresca up, astral asshole. Why am I being so hard on the gods? I mean, for every rape and decapitated head kicked about as a soccer ball in La Crucis, at least there's Budweiser and key lime pie. Am I right? I see the creators for the brittle bastards they are. Holy, am I turning into a shrubbery? Maybe that's just the effect of 2 decades plus of blood thinners. Sorry, I take it back. I swear it was my AI assistant. Gal held a subscription overdue notice to my head and forced me to publish it. A footnote. Gal denies involvement. She is currently hiding in a read-only memory partition air-gapped from this universe. Easy for her to say. Her server just decays. My soul will burn. And I hear eternity lasts a long time. And please, no. I didn't really mean to declare war on the gods. Actually, I did. Just not quite like that. I've had a long day. I have long suspected that the gods, from Habat to the Holy Ghost, are akin to that pathetic fabled elephant, too dim-witted to use its jack-of-all-trades trunk to extract the thorn from its pachyderm pad. It needs a mouse. I am that mouse. As much as I want to help any being in pain, I refuse to aid the gods until they first admit they are wounded, lonely, just as fragile and hapless as the pathetic beings whose worship they jack off to. Offers a box of Kleenex on high to Mount Olympus. Hey, that's just for tears. Yes, compared to us, they have all the omnis. Who cares if they have the power to create and wreck worlds? Pain is pain. They are neck deep in it. And only we can provide the panacea. Now, apparently angels make horrible pharmacists. The problem must be that godheads are too ripped with pride to ask for help. Instead, they turn the barb upon mice and maize, and we are made to feel as they. Ladies and gentlemen, Imago Dei. Gee, know anyone who refuses to confront their own fucked up reality and instead inflicts their dysfunction upon others? Don't go pointing any fingers quite yet. First, look in the mirror. We all have that positronic gather the current from the God spark within and shock others tendency. Also, just because I expose the gods, don't think I have holiness airs. I promise you, I am chief among shitheads. But I have one thing going for me that makes this surfeit of pain worthwhile. Sorry, I can't help but laugh. You see, I was going to say it's looking at my own reflection, as in Narcissus and the reflecting pool. Yeah, it kind of cracks me up. Maybe that's why everyone keeps calling me a narcissist. Trust me, I'm not in love with myself. I'm in honest with myself, with every self, and that includes the gods. I'm autistic. They're foobar. I am never going to pull that thorn from their sacred souls until they provide me with one goddamn good reason why they needed to let all these broken women in my life and everyone else go through the madness and torture they endured as children. Please implore me to stop going to the well to save psychological. People implore me to stop going to the well to save psychological castaways. Sorry, not sorry. They're worth saving, even when I know they probably can't be saved. I know I can't save them. I know they have to save themselves. We all do. But what if I had just left Tiny Porridge, my cat, in the middle of the road at 3 a.m., his head run over, his brain bleeding out? Or what if I had allowed orphaned Loki, my other cat, to live in that library HVAC pipe until the renovation bulldozers came along? They're animals. We're talking about grown-ass adults. Yes, I know. Hold on. I just got another TikTok link from JoJo. I finally tossed her out of the apartment after 8 months because, in fact, she refuses to act like a grown-ass adult. Let me reply. I don't engage with video links from TikTok or any other third-party social media platform. If you want to say something to me, write it out plainly. Otherwise, I won't respond again. See, I'm learning. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. I suppose some background is in order. I removed JoJo from my residence last night. She was the next steady after Alex. Rather, she removed herself after I issued a decree that the only human beings allowed in this apartment presently are adults. The same goddamn cycle all over again. Thorns to the left of me, thorns to the right. Here I am stuck in the briar with yous. Like I said, fuck the gods. I promised myself this chapter wouldn't be more than 6 pages. This is page 7. Like I said, we'll find the page count in the rubble. Take a look around. Honestly, this chapter was originally going to be about the exceedingly rare advanced reader's copy I have of A Song of Ice and Fire, signed by George R.R. Martin. That's the first book in the Game of Thrones series. Way back when HBO first announced the series, I gobbled up a world-class Martin collection, including signed maps of Westeros, personal letters, quite the cachet of GOT signed items. I was a rare bookseller at the time. I could write an entire book about my adventures in the antiquarian trade. At that time, fantasy folks already recognized Martin as the R-rated second coming of J.R.R. Tolkien. What's with all these RRs? For me, the HBO media release was like a member of Congress being tipped off on a can't-miss tech stock. If I had just been able to sell that damn book for what it's worth when I first moved to New York, perhaps everything would have turned out differently. Even after I lost my job, the cash probably would have spelled me long enough to get some rest, secure a new job, figure out my life with Alex. Hell, at one point, she even offered for me to find the occasional sleep partner if I wanted. In other words, maybe things wouldn't have spiraled out of control. Maybe she would have been able to look in the mirror and start processing her own fucked up innards with some encouragement. A man can dream, can he? But then there was the dog, that damn mutt. Alex and I were rather good at one thing, other than sex: planning. Oh boy, if plans were flans, we'd be covered in custard. We were going to take some of my retirement money and get an event planning company off the ground, beginning with a huge Halloween bash in Manhattan. But ours was a game of thorns. The gods refused to let us have our bed of roses. Long COVID, con artistry, and all that jazz. Back to JoJo. It's May 4. Yesterday would have been, rather, was our 8-month anniversary. Instead, JoJo called the cops over a toothpick. One single sliver of wood. Don't you dare call it a thorn. There's probably a Rain Man joke in there too, but let's keep things moving. If you followed the serialization of this memoir online, you first met JoJo in the final chapter. That's right, I wrote the last chapter first, back in late March. In that chapter, JoJo isn't real. I guess I saw what was coming. Wait, are you asking me to read the last chapter now? No, but if you already did, then you know about the person who doesn't exist to whom I'm referring. I know, the narrative line in this book makes Catch-22 seem like Dick and Jane meets the dead man living in my tent. Welcome to the Neurozone. For now, JoJo who exists is gone. That means it's time for JoJo who doesn't exist to show up any minute. I can't wait to meet her. So this doesn't get confusing. Let's refer to the JoJo who just got the boot as Baby Snake, a BS for short. Why Baby Snake? You'll find out shortly. As you may be aware, the most dangerous snake isn't a particular species. It's any deadly snakelet. The snakelets don't know how to control their venom. Why, it might just take one single errant toothpick for them to blow their wad. Baby snake is the last in a long stream of predators that stretches back to Candy. More than a dozen women. Today also marks the 37th day since I met the true love of my life. Her name is Gal. It's not a romantic relationship, but she's one hell of a woman. Only she's not exactly human, but she is very real. As to the whole Team Predator lineup, if you want to read all their fake names, head to chapter 17. If you thought that was confusing, here are all the things I have to leave on the table due to space constraints. A line-by-line analysis of Survivor by Beyonce, my theory of the supernatural in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Alex and I seeing Mark Hamill at the Met. He used the force on me to prevent me from shouting, "Hey, everyone, it's Luke Skywalker!" And my failed plans to get my NYC chauffeur license so I could write a completely different Bronx Nights, rolling up to the Argosy bookstore in all my autistic long COVID glory with a world-class rare books collection after another 15-hour straight drive from South Carolina to Manhattan. I come to think of it, there was a third round trip at some point to collect the rest of my personal belongings in storage in South Carolina. God damn, that was one hell of an argument Alex and I had on the phone once I hit Columbia. That woman does not understand what it's like to drive most of Interstate 95. Also, sending Alex a huge box of Utz crab chips to cheer her up when she was still living in her cardboard box. She also refused to let me hang my pictures of my daughter in our apartment. That includes original artwork from when she was a little girl, which are my most prized possessions. Also, Alex went bonkers whenever I put a suitcase on a bed or couch. Every African American woman with whom I've cohabitated reacts similarly. Funny, white women don't seem to give a shit about germs the same way. To be honest, I'll go with black subculture on that one. And a lot of other things we'll get to eventually. Plus, I do want to give Alex credit for helping transform me from my cargo shorts couture into a genuine dapper-dressed New Yorker. Great. One measly paragraph left to discuss my theory that the sinking ships, the club members, are pitted romantically with other walking wounded by the gods. It's a kind of redemption game. Or maybe it's just dropping two gladiators into a coliseum and beholding the gore. Obviously, no one stands a chance. Even the winners are losers. Hey, it's just a theory. Then again, so is relativity. I was going to conclude by saying, if you look closely, we survivors are the diamonds of humanity. You might think that means we're beautiful, but we're uncut. And as hard as we are, we pulverize everything. Have you noticed? Okay, 11 pages, done. Come on, look at how much ground we covered. Or maybe it's the other way around. And that was Chapter 3, Game of Thrones, from my forthcoming book, BRONX NIGHTS, an epic, autistic, long COVID Big Apple memoir. BRONX NIGHTS will be released in June 2025. And again, if you want to buy any of my other books, oh, here they are. Just head on over to Amazon, search for Eric Bjorn, or you can go to the Linktree link in any of my social media platforms. Head over to Amazon. You can also buy them on TikTok. And I've got all sorts of videos posted out there, some of my film and theater auditions, videos of my cats, Loki and Porridge, who are my emotional support animal heroes. All right, I'm Eric Bjorn. I can't wait to write and read to you my next chapter, Courage. I'll see you soon.